Hello everyone, welcome to today's episode of Velocity Kinetics. I'm just out in Risby, tried recording something to end another video with the video about the cost of cars. At the moment, because it's really windy, I don't actually know if the footage is usable. I might need to find another way to finish it as we record this today. As we sit recording this today, it's the 7th of April, today's episode of the Swacecast. I quite like recording this sort of video. I get out of the house for a little bit, and well, everybody wins really. I get a video to edit, which gives me something to do, gets me something to think about. I don't think I'm going to get my lawn cut today looking at this weather. Fucking hell. I was actually going to go and see if I could retrieve my number plate, or rather the very outside chance if I could go and retrieve my number plate, because I've often wondered since I lost it, is it still there? Could I get it and then potentially go back to having my matching front and rear plates? I was going to go that way, but someone on my local Facebook page posted that the roads that are heading that direction are still very flooded and very underwater, and there's something wrong with the drainage. So effectively the roads are just constantly flooding, which is less than ideal. So I decided to come another way, film some other stuff. You'll probably recognise the surroundings because I did the was it 21 months? 21 months? I did nearly 2 years with the Swace video around some of these roads, and this is where the introduction slate was recorded on this very Apex camera as well. Now, what do I want to talk to you all about today? In a nutshell, YouTube. Well, I will when I've finished having my fun. So yeah, YouTube, and why do I want to talk to you about it? Am I quitting YouTube? No. Got valid reasons to at times, but no views is not a reason to, because it's an outlet, catharsis, and if people happen to like it, listen in, watch it, it's all very nice. The second episode, it's what I would call the second episode of the Swacecast, has got like nearly 100 views, which some people go, 100? What? 100 views when I basically put it on I link it to my blog, well, not my blog, it was Russ's blog, but it goes on the WordPress. I was absolutely having a brain fart there. It gets linked onto the WordPress page, and it gets shared onto the Facebook page, and that's the only advertising and placement it gets. I don't even link it to my Twitter anymore. But what I want to talk about, I think I mentioned it in another video. Certainly I had a rant about it on the page. It's the fact that some videos it's to do with adverts on YouTube, and I know some videos have adverts. Yes, some, nearly all of them do. Now, don't get me wrong, YouTube's business model is selling data and advertisements. If we're going to break it down to its core platforms, that is all that makes up YouTube these days. I was watching a video, it was ZZ Top I wanted to watch, I think it was live at Montreux, where they play Lagrange, but they don't sing Lagrange, and then they back end it with tush, and then they do what I call tush reprise. So they finish. You think they finished the song Tush. Billy G gives I can't remember what the musical term is, but basically indicates to go again, and Dusty starts off again, which I really like the performance. But it's a 9-minute long video, which is including them leaving the stage. When I was watching it the other day, whilst I was doing a couple of jobs around the house, or trying to listen to it more than anything, a massive set of adverts came on, and the adverts themselves were longer than the fucking video I was trying to watch. I have always said to myself that if Velocity Kinetics ever got big enough for YouTube money and adverts, I would do what I could to control what adverts I put where. I would probably, I know you used to be able to choose where you could put adverts on, but it's been a long time since I've had any videos that have been eligible to be advertised, have advertisements on. Now, when I used to do that, because some of them on my own, when Velocity Kinetics used to be hosted on my own YouTube channel rather than its current dedicated channel it's had for God knows how long now, I used to tell it, if the video ever became eligible for adverts, put them at the beginning, put them at the end. That was how I always did it. Never anything in the middle, just beginning, end, sorted. But I've also became victim of it again the other night, where this giant YouTube advert came on for eBay cars, and this person getting their car ready for their MOT. And it is sort of the car section of YouTube I sort of want to... I feel bad wanting to... because it's going to sound like I'm slating it, and it's a case of, well, if you're not going to say no to if the channel ever exploded to get YouTube money, become recognised, even make it a change of career, why are you slating it? And you're not wrong. It's not exactly an intuitive move or counterintuitive, whatever, however you want to describe it. But for me, what it is but what it is for me is it's unattainable. Now, I believe this video, I do watch the odd video on the Velocity Kinetics channel, and sometimes it's not as in my own content, as in sometimes I'll just when I'm logged in on Velocity Kinetics, I might start browsing whilst the video uploads or something like that. And I have watched these various videos telling you how to get the best out of your YouTube channel. And I believe the videos I do fall under talking head, where it's basically just me and a camera talking. I don't usually use B-roll, or very much of it. I don't use stock footage or anything along those lines. And they were talking about how to do all your edits and things like that. And it's one of these things. This is more the bit I'm slating YouTube as a whole. It's like, I want my videos to be me. I'll cut out my pauses if I do too many ers, or because I do the noise more because sometimes it stops me stammering. Sometimes when I do get stuck in a stammer, that there is no easy way to break it, and those of us, I don't have an officially diagnosed stammer, is not sort of speech crippling like it is for some people. I believe somewhat. I'm trying to think how it was. Might even, but my wife said my stammer is a victim. It only exists it was basically something to do with how I was raised, effectively, sort of a stress reaction, I guess. But anyway, I do cut out what I deem to be unnecessary stuff from the videos, because it's not all required, not by any stretch of the imagination. But this road this way, so when I want to turn, I can never read. I always forget where to. Cause that's why. Stay down the road I want. But I want the videos to sort of be an extension of me. I want it to represent who I am. I don't want it to fall into the whole... There are some YouTube videos that are just not, apart from the personalities, and actually, if you took the personality out, they're nearly all the same. And never mind these YouTubes that are... To be honest, there's a number of YouTube shorts that, to be honest, I think they'd be more at home on fucking Pornhub. Sorry, that wasn't meant to be a joke. Some of them, it's a case of... Some of them, they're just, it's like they're too sexual for YouTube. But that's its own separate kettle of fish. Right, so you join me at home now. The GoPro died halfway around. Well, I know it's not a GoPro, but that's what I call it. But at least I now have a latte to drink as we go. So where I left off, it was talking about the nature of some YouTube shorts. But what also gets my goat with YouTube these days at times is the videos that use the automated AI voice, the one I've come across on Facebook a lot, that does the whole 5 facts that'll save your life sort of voice. Well, it'll probably turn out that all those videos were being programmed by the Russians or the Chinese at some point in the future, won't it? There's been people suspecting that's what 5 Minute Crafts is actually doing to people. Whether that's true or not is another thing altogether. But what gets me with that, there's some, the point I was trying to make is there are some YouTube channels that if you took the personality away from them, they're carbon copies of each other. Same editing style, same sort of topics, same memeage, shall we say. Whereas I've always wanted Velocity Kinetics to be its own thing, or as much of its own thing as I can possibly get it. Sorry, I apologise. There's a washing machine about to kick on to spin. The computer's on working overtime whilst it's rendering another video. What gets me is a lot of channels seem to get popular and there's a lack of originality, or the whole goal is I want to be a big YouTuber. Now I don't. If Velocity Kinetics ever became big, then great. If it became big enough for me to make it a career, then oh god, what have I done? But I'll take it because it will probably be making more money than what I'm doing at the moment, or at least springboard onto bigger and better things that I potentially wanted to do years ago. Now, there've been so many missteps with various YouTube channels over the years. So one I'm thinking of is WTF1. So when Matt and Tommy left WTF1, I realise when I sort of throw things around like that, it might sound like, oh yeah, I know, yeah, Matt and Tommy. Don't know who they are. They might have read some of my stuff. Possibly, I don't know. But that's at best all it ever was. But if you look at WTF1, after Matt and Tommy left and Katie left, they just hired on a bunch of TikTokers, and loads of them didn't have the passion for Formula One, or they didn't have the long-rooted knowledge, or if they had a late life awakening as to what F1 is, they didn't they didn't learn anything about the history. Like, oh, I've been a fan since 2019. Like, one of them be like, oh, I've been a fan since 2019. It's like, okay, but there are really small YouTubers, small writers, and I'll use myself as the example because I've ticked both of those boxes for my own examples quite nicely. But say, for instance, there's someone like myself who's been doing stuff for F1 related for years, whether that's in my own capacity on my own little blog, or whether you're talking in more professional settings, like I did for sport right now, or like I did for netcars. Netcars wasn't just F1. Some of it might be I was in the wrong place at the wrong time, because for the netcars stuff, I probably could have, if I played my cards right, I could have probably interned at car throttle. But I was living in the northeast at the time, and nowhere near London, so that wasn't possible. The other thing I could have possibly done is just made more shouty about things on LinkedIn. I could have been on LinkedIn years ago, because my godfather recommended I should have done so, because he read everything I'd written. He said it was really good, and he basically said I had more of a future in that than what I'm doing in my degree, and what I was doing at Santander Bank at the time. And ifs, buts, coconuts, if I did all that, I probably wouldn't have Sarah, or it's probably one of these horrible catch-22s. I could have done all that and had all these amazing opportunities and probably have a fat bank account, or fatter. Actually, it's a bank account that has an average weight bank account, shall we say. But I probably wouldn't have Sarah, who I wouldn't trade for anything. Or I could have Sarah and sort of be last horse across the line on that sort of thing. What bugs me with a lot of YouTube channels these days, aside from the fact they all sort of seem to follow the same copy-paste edit style, or non-edit style. Granted, Velocity Kinetics sometimes follows the non-edit style, and for a time it was because it was laziness on my part. Well, convenience is probably the better way to put it, not laziness. The computer I had at the time just couldn't render. Every single Adobe file that I put through it just failed, even after reinstalling it. Nothing would work. Deleted the Adobe cache, I deleted all the program files, all the settings, you name it, it wouldn't do it. And I didn't know about Kdenlive, and I refused to use Windows Movie Maker at the time. Not to knock Windows Movie Maker or Video Maker, whatever it's called. The only other option would have been to have done something like a torrent of something. Probably Sony Vegas, but even then I'm sure I tried that just as a stopgap and it didn't work. I don't remember. But what a lot of them don't seem to realise, it's the money involved in it. Now, it's going to sound like I'm hating on Auto Alex potentially in a minute, and it's more because I watch a lot of his stuff, and he's the one I've got the most examples of. But he's not the only one committing these offences. A lot of these car YouTube channels these days require a ton of money, and a lot of people are like, what do you mean it requires a ton of money? It's like, well, if you think about it, right, the camera I'm currently recording on now is my replacement DSLR. Now, I'm recording on my DSLR just to see what it's like, because it's still pretty new. It's a Panasonic Lumix, it's a mirrorless one, where I previously, I still have it, I've got a Nikon D3200. The D3200 autofocus is knackered, it's been broken for a long time. I've had the camera, that's the camera I used to use for the green screen videos. It's had its time, it's done, basically. But this DSLR is 800 quid. Now, if you don't want to spend that sort of money, you can probably get a decent DSLR that can film for about 200 or 300. But that's still 200 or 300. Then if you want things like GoPros, even if you're not going for a proper GoPro camera and going for something like what I use, which is an Apex camera, which I believe cost me £30–40 off eBay when I got it. If you want one or two of those, then there's another £60. Then if you want a computer or a laptop that can cope with editing, then you're out. I'd say to have something that can cope. Oh, it's a rubber. Sorry. If you want something that can cope with editing, you probably want to spend about £600, I would say, would be a good return on a PC or a laptop, even if you're buying something used, regardless of whether you're going Mac or Windows or even Linux. You're still out about that much money for it. Then you've got your editing suite. Now I've been using Kden Live, which is open source. But if you want to do things properly like Premiere, then I believe there's a subscription for that, which is about £30 a month. And then if you wanted the ancillaries or additional programs like After Effects, which what I use to make the intro slate for Velocity Kinetics, then that's its own extra add-on. If you want Photoshop, which is what my brother made the Velocity Kinetics logo in, that's another cost as well. And you're out quite a lot of money, never mind little extra mics. Now, the mic I have for my GoPro camera, Apex camera, action camera, I'll just try to remember to call it an action camera. The camera I've got, the microphone I got for the action camera actually came with the action camera. But Sarah did buy me one, which I used to use, and it's not always the greatest of quality audio from it, but that was still easily £10 for I'm sure that's how much it was, because I think I gave her the link for it. Even if you buy knockoffs off Wish and all these wireless radio mics, that's still money. So you're probably out nearly £1,000 before you've even gotten to doing anything with your car. This is ignoring whatever personality you have, whether you have, like me, whether you're quite introverted and reserved, whether you're an ambivert, whether you're an extrovert, whether you've got the most monotonous voice on the planet, or whether you can express yourself quite nicely with your words and facial expressions. So you're out all that equipment. Never mind a car rig like the suction cup mount I've got for my car, that can go inside or outside. That was only £12 or £15 off Amazon, but that's another £12 or £15. Then you've got your memory cards, and you haven't even turned a wheel if you're just going to do stuff with your own car. But then if you're going to do things like all the car YouTubes seem to follow a similar format, where it's I bought X car for X thousand, and then there's the everything wrong with my X price car, and then fixing X price car, and then often a follow-up video of why I had to sell X car, which gets infuriating, because there are some people, it's like they're constantly, I'm buying my dream car, bought my dream car, bought my dream car, bought my dream car. For me, it's a tough one, because when you assign something your dream car, or tag it your dream car, or dream holiday, or dream that, you are entitled to have more than one. You can have a dream part, for dream houses, for example. You can have a dream house in the country, dream city dwelling, dream suburb dwelling, dream earth pod for all I care. And myself with dream cars, I've got a dream saloon, got a dream estate, got a dream 4x4 thing that if I got one, dream supercar, dream sports car. So I've got quite a few. But we're talking people who be like, I bought my dream this and that happened, and it gets frustrating. And then, or the other thing you'll do, and I have to say, Auto Alex was quite. I watched the video and I have to side with the comments on it when it's the video where he bought the K car, and I'm not very up or well versed on K cars at all, so I have no idea. The general feeling in the comments is that they absolutely fleeced the man selling it. And I'm torn, because the people in the comments who say, well, the man didn't have to sell it, are not wrong. The man could have said, piss off, you're wasting my time. That's not what we agreed. But at the same time, when they start bragging about how little they got it for, it's a case of, hang on, you probably spend more on lunch a week than what a family of 4 spend on all their meals for a week. It starts to get mad. And then, this is before you start getting into, if you haven't been lucky enough to get some sort of partnership with Liqui Moly or Snap-on or Febby Bilstein and things like that, you've suddenly, if you're someone starting out, you've then got to pay for all that. And even if you're just going for as good a quality as you can afford, so maybe not Liqui Moly, if it's just you can afford Halford's own stuff that's as good as you could afford, that's still a lot of money for, say, for instance, some oil, if you're going to put it in, or just general coolant, for example. This is not then factoring in where you're going to do all this, if you're lucky enough to have a friend or a family member who's got a garage who'll let you use it, there'll only be so long they'll be willing to let you use it for nothing before you need to start paying them, unless they're getting recognisable revenue from people watching your video, assuming your video was even picked up in the first place. You've then got to you're out all those parts as well, so you've got people, again, I have to cite Alex, and I really get annoyed at myself to keep citing Alex for it. But Alex, he's got a 330 Touring that he's basically turning into an M3 Touring, and that project's been going on for so long that people had thought he'd sold the car and gotten bored. But it sounds like he's getting a lot of things, he's not getting it for free, but he's not exactly spending as much as a normal customer, because he's YouTube. Again, not to belittle his success, because he's found something that's worked. He's built on a platform he built through Car Throttle. And if Taylor Hetherington decided to peel away from Alex and do his own thing on YouTube, Taylor would have quite a following because of Alex. But that brings me on to another thing. A lot of these people who've got followings have either been in the right place at the right time on YouTube, because for a while, I was talking to my brother about this a little while ago. I used to have a channel, it still exists, it's still around, I don't think that we've made content for it for easily 10 years, if not more, called Storm Space Productions, because I had an idea about, in 2010, 2011, when machinima was all the big thing, and not the YouTube channel, just the art form of machinima, because of Red vs Blue. Pretty much anyone could start machinima and suddenly get popular. Then when Achievement Hunter started doing the Minecraft Let's Plays and really popularised that, you just need to have the words Minecraft and Let's Play in your channel, and you'd suddenly get tons of following. Even if your channel fell over a couple of years later, you'd have still made bank whilst it was successful. We were just late to the show on the Minecraft Let's Play, on the Minecraft Let's Play front. We were late to the show on the machinima front, more because I couldn't get the equipment to film it. But people who have read the script for the machinima have said it would have had legs and could have gone on to be quite successful. But I think they were just being kind, to be honest, because if it was that good, a couple of places I sent excerpts off to would have picked it up and said, come, let's talk. But anyway. But a lot of them have got, don't get me wrong, there are some who've built it up from ground zero and have really worked for it. But then you've got the likes of, let's say, Auto Alex, you've got the likes of Tavares, you've got the likes of Matt Armstrong, who have got big followings because of what they've done before. Even if it's been doing bigger and better things, they've had other bits to sort of feed in, help make the name. And this is also, I'll loop in Drive Tribe into this. I watch a lot of Drive Tribe. Out of the Top Gear trio, the original Top Gear trio, I have the most time, I think, for Richard Hammond. James May, I used to think I'd have a lot of time for him, but some of his stuff he's said and done over the years, I've sort of changed my mind a bit. But Hammond, I've always consistently had time for. Makes it sound like I know him, doesn't it? But you know what I mean. I think if I had to go for a coffee with one of them the most, you've got to have a weekly coffee chat with one of them. Who do you pick? I probably would have picked Hammond. And this is where I cite need to loop in Drive Tribe here, because Drive Tribe, if it wasn't for those three, so if it wasn't for Clarkson, Hammond or May, probably would have fell flat on its face. I mean, the website itself fell flat on its face, and years ago when it first launched, I did consider writing for them, because a couple of friends of mine said I should, but I couldn't commit to the content requirement. I'm sure you had to do 3 articles a week, if I remember rightly. There was something on that was not negotiable. Now maybe I should have negotiated, or maybe I should have dug deep and found a way to make it happen, but for those people who know what I mean, particularly if you worked in the call centre in Stockton-on-Tees for Santander, if you were on in the mortgages part of that call centre, and didn't live immediately in Stockton or Thornaby, you'll know exactly what I mean by the pain in the arse of getting to and from that place, even if you only had to get the train or the bus from Middlesbrough Est and that sort of thing, and then doing a 10 till 7. If you're doing a 10 till 7, you're probably there in that building from... If you're not in the building, you're in Thornaby/Stockton from 9:30, and you're probably still in Stockton at 7:30 at night. You're probably not home until nearly 8 o'clock at night, if you're lucky. And then you've still got to eat, you've still got to socialise, you've still got to exercise, do your chores, whatever you need to do. Where do you find the time to do anything else? And then if you're back in the next morning for an 8 o'clock start, you're on such a quick turnaround, especially again if you're on public transport, it's mental. But Drive Tribe wouldn't be nowhere near as successful as it is if it wasn't for Hammond picking up the baton and running with it. Don't get me wrong, the content they make is really good. I really like Mike Fernie as a presenter, and I did once send him a message. Was it this year or the tail end of last year? Can't remember. I sent him a message on Instagram. I basically said to him, look, I've written for these things over the years. I've got this channel. I've been doing this for all this time. I've never really had much success. Can I ask what did you do different? What did you do that I could do or could have done, should have done, that would have put me in the same position as yourself? Now, he could have very easily ignored it. Granted, he didn't reply very quickly, but he's his own man, he's got his own stuff to do. He could have very easily just never replied full stop. But he basically told me that he got an internship at Car Throttle, which seems to be the common thread that I've been missing. And as mentioned, I was living in Middlesbrough at the time, not in the southeast, so of course I couldn't partake in Car Throttle. But with the way Mike landed at Drive Tribe and leading it now, if it had just been him, there's a good chance that Drive Tribe would be not a very big player in that world if it wasn't for the likes of Hammond, and that's something that a lot of that ilk don't acknowledge. The other thing is, sort of tied into that, a lot of those YouTubers do not acknowledge how big a role luck played in it. So I could follow all the tutorials that come up on Velocity Kinetics YouTube homepage when we're logged in to do uploads, about do this to get this video, to make your video go high, do this to get subscribers, do this to do that. The biggest thing, though, is I could follow all those rules, to the letter. But luck is incredibly powerful in that game. There was one Storm Space Productions video that Mikey, my friend, and I did, and it didn't blow up. It didn't go viral. It went viral for us, if that makes sense. As in, holy crap! I think it peaked at. It was on Blip TV, and I think it maxed out at 4,000 views, which for something that we did no promotion of, it just got pasted on my Twitter feed, and then on the website we had at the time, and that was it. And it also fed into YouTube too. But for something we didn't promote, it got that many watches in 2011 was something. It's a bit like on Velocity Kinetics. Most of our videos, if we took an average of all the videos that have been up since episode 1 on my original channel all the way up to the last video that went up, we are probably saying an average of 19, 20 views a video, which some people would say, 19, 20 views a video? Why are you wasting your time? I'm wasting my time because I need something to do, I want something to focus my mind on, I need something to vent or to use as catharsis. I have had a couple of absolute videos that are bombed on there in the bad way, as in 1-2 views maximum, but I think even as we sit here today, the most viewed video is Suzuki Swace Part 2. Part 1, Part 2 part 3 and part 4 off the top of my head. Between those 4 videos, have got nearly something like 5,000, 6,000 views. I'll nail my colours to the 5,000 mark more than the 6. And for something that, again, it only goes on the Facebook page, for something that only goes on the WordPress page, it's quite an achievement in my opinion. But that required its own little lightning bolt of luck. The most recent Swacecast, no, actually not the most recent one, the one before it, where I've had to do it, where I turned around because it was really wet and the road was falling to pieces. That one is at nearly 100 views. I haven't promoted it anywhere beyond the Facebook page or the WordPress page. But nearly 100 views on its own is quite good, and I'm happy with that. I could have even shared it on the Suzuki Swace Owners Forum, but I didn't. I suppose what I find frustrating is the YouTube platform has gone from being about amateurs to being full-blown mini pro productions. Well, not even mini pro productions. They are full-scale productions. Gone from most part are people with a camera and just doing what they want. They're all playing to algorithms and things like that. It's not that it's not when it comes to playing to the algorithm, because I'm sure if I played better to it, then we'd have more views if I cared about that sort of thing. It's not I won't because I can't. It's I can't because I won't. I won't play to the algorithms. If I wanted to play the algorithms, then I would have done that years ago, a long time ago. But then I wouldn't be Velocity Kinetics. Russ probably would have told me to stop playing to those as well. It's quite astounding, in my opinion, just how mental it all is. And do you know what, if someone could wave a magic wand and say what could we make Velocity Kinetics turn into overnight, I'd want it to be almost like the early car throttle videos with Alex, Jack and Ethan, like when they're doing things like the NC500, just only with a little bit less. On the one hand, I'd like to think I'd have done well in that sort of environment. At the same time, I think my introverted self would have struggled a lot. But if it was the sort of thing where I'd love it to be the sort of channel where I could say, phone up Volvo, say, I see you've got a new XC90. Can we borrow one for a couple of days for a review? Yeah, sure. Boom, done. Review up. Next. Oh, say it. I see you've got a new Cupra coming out. Can we borrow it for a few days? Yep. Here you go. Done. That's what I would love Velocity Kinetics to turn into, but it's just not gonna. It's wrong to say it's just not gonna happen because you don't know. But the odds are not in my favour for it. And again, though, it's sort of that I feel bad saying that because again, you've said it in the video you don't care, and you know what? No, I don't care. But if it was to turn it into something that I could make my job, that is what I'd want to turn it into. I'd want it to be something relaxed and informal, a bit like Mark Priestley's videos when he does them. And his videos didn't conform to any sort of memeage or anything like that. It was just him and a camera, and granted 2 dogs were quite cute, but it was just a man and a camera. That's what I like about the Velocity Kinetics side of things. So whilst today has been quite a rant about YouTube and how shorts have turned sexualised, or at least it seems to be turning that way. My wife says it seems to be doing the same for her as well. how shorts have become sexualized, how videos seem to have a similar format, how everyone's begging, borrowing, and so on and so forth across all the videos. I can reassure you, Velocity Kinetics will not turn into that. I know, again, people are like, but you ask for donate. Yeah, I always ask for donations via PayPal or recently the Buy Me a Cup of Coffee link, because these take time, and so it'd be nice to have had some YouTube money over the years for all the videos that I've done. But it also doesn't mean someone can't just go, done a good job, here you go, go out to dinner tonight. I've treated you to dinner, sort of thing. Anyway, I've just noticed that my camera's got under 30 seconds left on this recording stint, and it's done nearly half an hour. So, but I think that's because it can't physically do any more on its memory card. So let's quickly wrap this up. Give us a like and subscribe on the YouTube channel. Hope you like the new icon, because that was part of what came out of the failed Apex camera stuff. PayPal.me/Velocity Kinetics. Buy me a cup of coffee /customer services expert. See you next time.